What is going on, everybody? It is Monday, January the 31st, and that means it's time for my news radar. As we move closer and closer to February 9th, the presumed date where Samsung will fully unveil both the S22 line of phones, but also the Tab S8 series of tablets, I thought it would be helpful here to give a quick rundown of all of the known rumors, all of the known specs about the S22 line of phones. And let's start here with leaks about the price. This is a Twitter account called The Galax. They write about a lot of things, and this seems to be pretty much the consensus where the price is going to be on the S22 line. So we're looking at $799 for the S22, $999 for the S22 Plus, and then $1199 for the S22 Ultra. However, there are also leakers reporting a different price, $100 more expensive across the board, $899, $1099, and $1299. It is unclear at this moment which one is going to actually be correct, and if you take into account the FE, which is $699, then you'll be looking at $700 for their baseline, either $800 or $900. You can just see from here how they would run the gamut from cheap to ultra expensive. But it is interesting that in the face of something like the Pixel 6, where I think a lot of us expected the price to come down, it's possible that their prices are actually going to go up instead. And then we can head over to GSM Arena and kind of look at what we're looking at here in terms of specs. So this is just the standard S22. And it doesn't look that wildly different from the S21, and really, it's not all that wildly different. Basically, you're getting a spec bump, right? We're going to be jumping up to the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1. Your camera array will consist of a 50 megapixel wide, a 10 megapixel telephoto, and a 12 megapixel ultra wide. So nothing insane, but definitely good enough. A 6.1 inch display, 3700 milliamp hour battery, 8 gigabytes of RAM. Looks to be a totally serviceable flagship. If we jump up to the S22 Plus, we jump up to a 6.6 inch display. The camera array stays the same. The battery gets a touch bigger at 4500 milliamp hour batteries, and you get a little bit of extra RAM, and that's pretty standard for what they typically do with their devices. The Plus is just a little bigger, a little bit better. With that bigger, display, bigger device, you can add in more battery, but nothing else really ever changes. And then the S22 Ultra is basically just the Galaxy Note. You see, you have a different look to the camera module. It is a 6.8 inch screen, so the biggest screen yet. 5,000 milliamp hour battery, between 8 and 12 gigs of RAM, depending on which one you want to go with. And then the camera modules change pretty dramatically as well. So now you've got a 108 megapixel primary shooter, 10 megapixel periscope telephoto, which can do up to 10x optical. That's very impressive. But when you look back here at the standard S22, you're looking at 3x optical, so 10x optical. Then there's another 10 megapixel telephoto that does 3x optical, and the reason that you do that is so that you have good quality all the way through your zoom. So like if all you have is a 10 megapixel optical zoom, then you're going to be zooming digitally up until 10x zoom. So basically you'd have zoom that would get worse and worse and worse until it's really bad, and then it would get really good again and then trail off. But this way you go digital up to 3, and then 3 is optical, and then digital from 3 up to 10. But since you're 3 optical, it's going to look okay until you get to 10, and then 10 takes over optically again. So that's why they do that. And then there's a 12 megapixel ultra wide. So it's a really, really top of the line, very impressive camera setup. And then of course you do get the S Pen with a proper silo to contain that pen. So I mean, all in all, it does look very impressive. But I do have to wonder, with the additional competition out there, if it is impressive enough. And in fact, I tweeted this thread here discussing the Pixel 6 versus the S21 FE, because these, they're separated by $100. And I just don't know what to make of this, because the FE is $100 more expensive than the Pixel 6, and I just don't know how well it competes. When you look at the specs here, I mean, you've got the Tensor versus the Snapdragon 888 on the FE. You've got more RAM on the Pixel. Storage is the same. Displays are almost identical, other than the fact you get 120 hertz in the FE. Battery size is very similar. Charging is very similar. In terms of cameras, the Pixel only has the 50 megapixel and the 12 megapixel ultra wide, right? Which sounds like it's going to be worse compared to a 12 megapixel wide, 12 ultra wide, 8 telephoto. But it's a Pixel and it's a 50 megapixel primary shooter, so I would assume that the Pixel is going to take, considerably better photos than what you're going to get on the Fan Edition. Physical size is a little odd though. The FE is physically smaller despite being the same size screen, but again, $100 different, and you're getting the Google experience. And I know the Pixel 6 has not been phenomenal as of late. These updates, apparently it is getting better, but it did launch with some problems. But if I'm looking at these two and I'm going to decide which one to buy, the Pixel being $100 cheaper and being likely better in a lot of key areas for me, I'm probably going to go that way. And if you look at the Pro versus the S22 Ultra, you're looking at a price jump from $900 to $1,300. And I just don't know what Samsung is going to do as I leave these specs here on screen for you to look at. What are they doing to justify that price? I mean, I guess if you really need that S Pen, I guess it's really your only option for a modern flagship, but that's a huge price jump. And again, is Samsung doing enough to justify that jump in price to you? I feel like the Pixel 6 line at its reduced price can be fairly disruptive, and I just wonder again, what do you guys think about this? Is Samsung doing enough here with the S22 Ultra to justify such a high price, considering they're not that far off from their own folding phones at that point, right? To me, if I'm going to spend $1,200, $1,300 on an Ultra, why not just spend a little bit more and get the Fold? I don't know, maybe that's just me. Let me know what you think in the comments. So we also have a first look here at some features that will be coming in Windows 11's first big update. And this sort of synopsis here is from The Verge. So it looks like we're going to be getting some taskbar improvements here, right? Like the ability to mute and unmute, the ability to show your clock on your secondary monitor. Like, come on, how is that not a thing? Also improving the taskbar further to bring back missing functionality like drag and drop. That would also be great to see. It looks like we're also going to get back that weather widget on the taskbar. And if I'm not mistaken, I think it's actually going to go bottom left where the start menu used to be. Now, if you move your start button over to that side, then it's going to go back over where they tested it initially, over there next to your clock and all that stuff. But those are the two places it's probably going to go. Notepad and media apps are both being redesigned to look like modern apps. The fact that that didn't happen at launch is a little funny to me, but here we are. This is pretty much what Notepad is going to look like. As you can see here, it says preview. It's just Notepad. Nothing's really changed. It just now supports dark mode and looks like a Windows 11 app. That's cool. Another big addition that will be Android apps on Windows 11. This is something that's been in public preview for a long time, but it's going to be rolling out publicly coming up very soon. And it's something I've talked about on numerous occasions. It's something that is cool to have. The apps don't run phenomenally well, but if it's something that there's a particular Android app that you just need to have access to on your desktop and you don't want to use something like the Your Phone app, which we'll talk about again here just in a moment, to stream your apps, this is a good option for you, and it's pretty cool. And there's obviously lots of cool stuff people are doing with it, despite the fact that officially you are limited to apps in the Amazon App Store, and that is definitely a rather large limiting factor. I guess it's still better than nothing. All right, I said I was going to talk about the Your Phone app, so let's do that now. If you missed the news on one of my last videos, I talked about the fact that on Surface Duo 2, you now do have access to the apps feature. If you do not know what I'm talking about, let's take a look at it here. Your Phone app may look different than mine. This is a preview build. You can see coming soon. Yours might look like this instead. I'm going to use this layout here because I like it better. But at any rate, now you're going to have an option here that says apps. And from there, what you can do is, sure, you can open your phone screen, which will just give you your phone that you can manipulate and move around and do things with. That's great. But you can also just click on an app and it will launch that app alone in a window. And that is pretty cool. And you can scroll through it and do whatever it is that you need to do. Quite nice, quite handy. But the thing I'm talking about here today is the fact that finally, Surface Duo 2 can be paired to multiple PCs in the Your Phone app. Before, you could be paired up with your home computer, but not your laptop, not your home computer. Now, you can do whatever you need to do. You can have it attached to multiple devices. And let's pop back over here, and I'll just use the phone screen feature to show you this. If we go into the Your Phone app settings, you'll see connected to my desktop, connected to my Surface Pro 7, although it's not connected right now because it's turned off, but you can see that I could be connected to it. And don't worry, Duo, the original Duo, can do this as well. This is something that they can both do, but Duo 2 could not do it, and now it can. So this is a great thing. I'm glad they finally have fixed. And I also want to run this by you as well. I just want your opinion on it. My Galaxy Z Fold 2 finally got One UI 4.0. That is Android 12. Now, I made a video going over Android 12 features on the Galaxy Tab S7. And a lot of the stuff is the same as it is on the Z Fold. But I wanted to know from you guys, do you want to see me do a best features here on the Z Fold 2 of One UI 4.0 as well, even though a lot of those may be repeats of what I talked about on the Galaxy Tab video? Let me know if you want to see that coverage. If you do, I'll make it happen. Guys, thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the next News Radar, which will come every Monday and Friday. I'll see you on the next one. And until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.